Alright, Hank and Cordelia are back and ready to test another transgender mod for The Sims 4. Today we're doing the in-game gender transition mod by Meep62. As a reminder for these Sims, Hank is a trans man teenager, so he has all the feminine or traditionally female traits assigned to him under the gender settings, including a more feminine high-pitched voice, where Cordelia, on the other hand, has all the male or masculine typical gender settings, including a voice on the deeper end of the spectrum. The only difference being that Cordelia actually dresses in feminine clothes. Now, the other two mods that we did with these two have no impact on any of their settings in here, and from what I understand, this is the only mod that actually will change up their settings. So while I could just go in and click these all myself, this mod is supposed to simulate the act of actually going and doing hormones and surgery and things like that. So as per usual, I will be playing for a full sim week just to see what type of moodlets and different interactions we get with the mod and give an overview of everything there is. So if I click on Cordelia, we can see that we already have this transition little pie menu here, and then there's the options for what we want to do. To take hormones, it's $500. To go to voice training, it's $500. To get top surgery, it's $10,000. And to get a bottom surgery, it's also $10,000. Interesting choices around the costs. Not sure how they came up with these ones, but I'll get her started with some hormones already. And we'll see what she comes back looking like. Hank, on the other hand, I'll let him finish his food, and then we're gonna give voice training a shot. All right, Hank, let's go. Stop taking selfies, go to your voice training. All right, Cordelia is back, and I can already see a difference in her body shape, and I think maybe even her face structure. I'm kind of bad at noticing these changes, to be honest with you, but I do see some differences here. And she also has a moodlet that says gender euphoria from transitioning. Cordelia feels so much happier with their body. I'm glad I went with the they them pronouns for that. Just gonna let her nap while she waits for Hank. Oh man, Hank is already at school. Alright, well, we'll have to wait to hear his voice, but he does also have the same gender euphoria moodlet here. Interesting that it says Hank feels so much happier with their body even though it was voice training. So it would have been cool if they actually said happier with their voice, but I guess that's technically part of your body. I'm actually listening to Cordelia right now while she's gaming, and I'm pretty sure that estrogen changed her voice as well, which I'm surprised about because I knew that this mod would change their voices for like testosterone, but I didn't realize that it also worked for estrogen. Not to invade Cordelia's privacy too much here, but I noticed that when she was taking a shower, it actually didn't blur out her chest even though she's on estrogen, so I'm wondering if that's a change that happens with top surgery. So Hank is back from school now, and I actually don't notice any difference in his voice at all. Like, there's a way more noticeable difference in Cordelia's voice, despite the fact that Hank was the one that went to voice training. But I'm wondering maybe it doesn't work on trans male Sims. Taking a look in Cast, I can see that his voice stayed at the higher range of things, where there was no change, of course, in any of his gender settings. And then Cordelia, on the other hand, yeah, she looks so different in her face. Oh, her hair is different even. It gave her a different hairstyle. I didn't even notice that because I forgot that like the front looked similar. But yeah, she didn't have a ponytail before. But yeah, it looks like the only thing that changed was it gave her a feminine frame. She still has like the male stuff selected here. And she always had a feminine clothing preference. And she still uses the toilet standing up and she can get others pregnant. But yeah, and her voice has also been changed from estrogen. And since she has the male sign selected, that means that she can still grow a beard and that doesn't register her as needing a bra or having breasts. Let me put that back on you, Cordelia. Now I'll send Hank off to do his hormones and we can see if his voice changes from that, which it should. Cordelia, thank you for cleaning up. All right, Hank is home from taking his hormones. And the big reveal, Raj stopped going through our garbage. Okay, he looks barely different. I'm wondering if it's because he's a teen. Wait, what? Did it just give Cordelia a deep voice again? I'm so confused. Yeah, okay, so Hank does look different. Let me get him in his clothes. Okay, so in Cast, I can see that Hank does look different. He just, when he walked by quickly, I couldn't see it. And he does have a masculine frame now. But his clothing preference is still feminine. And then become pregnant and toilet standing up. Kind of confused, to be honest. How is her voice like this now after Hank took hormones? And what does your voice sound like? Oh, you got nothing to say? Oh yeah, so it's still high pitched. And since his setting up here still says female, it thinks that he should be wearing a bra if we remove the shirt. And he doesn't have the ability to grow facial hair, even though he's on hormones. But because the Sims doesn't allow like female assigned Sims here to have beards, we can't change that. Yeah, her voice is back to being deeper. I'm gonna send her to voice training. It's also interesting because there's still an option to take hormones. So I wonder what happens if you keep taking them. Well, let's send her to voice training. And also, Hank's gender euphoria moodlet reset itself when he did the hormones, but it's still the same message. Alright, Gita, just you and me until Cordelia gets back. Nope, just me. Alright, Cordelia is back from her voice lessons, but it's 5 a.m.
Oh,
I was gonna say we need to find someone for her to talk to, but it's clear that her voice has changed back. I'm not sure what the deal was there, but I'll take it, I guess. So Hank's voice didn't change, but since it is a Saturday, he doesn't have school, so now's the perfect time for him to go get top surgery. So if we select top surgery, he can't afford it. Let me just sell some things quickly. Alright, we had to sell a few things in the apartment, but we can now afford to go for surgery. So we're gonna go with top surgery first. Cordelia is back from work and made $240. Gonna have to make a little bit more to be able to afford surgery, because now her and Hank are gonna have to share a bed. Alright, Hank has done his surgery. Time for the reveal. There he is. He looks exactly the same. I swear, I just can't tell when he walks in. I gotta... Wow, it definitely worked, because this says aching wounds from recent surgery. Hank isn't feeling so good after that surgery. And looking at him in cast, that actually didn't change any of his settings, since we already had the masculine frame from testosterone. But if we remove his shirt... What the f... Yo, am I doing this wrong? Because yeah, now it's still registering him as needing a bra. But I guess it always will unless we get him to the male setting. I mean, he does look flatter. Just not all the way. So let's see what happens with bottom surgery. All right, Cordelia's awake, so it's time for her top surgery. Let's go transition, get top surgery. All right, Cordelia's back. I also see no difference. I'm wondering... Yeah, so top surgery doesn't seem to have done anything. Yeah, it's still the same. I'm just reading over the instructions to the mod. And it is supposed to say that get top surgery changes your Sim's gender, whereas the bottom surgery is supposed to only change the get others pregnant settings. And the voice training is supposed to change their voice, whether they are like a trans woman or a trans man. So it's strange that it didn't work on Hank, but that the hormones changed Cordelia's. So it looks like both Cordelia and Hank paid $10K for nothing but an aching wounds moodlet that lasts for 2 days. That's so rough. Wow. And she's throwing a tantrum autonomously. You know what? I feel you, girl. That's rough. And at this point, I've sold everything I can in their house, and we don't have enough money for bottom surgery yet because we need 20K for them both to get it. All right, Cordelia, let's try and make some money. All right, they're both headed out to their part-time jobs. Hopefully they'll get a bit of money from that, and then otherwise I'm gonna have to send them out looking for something to do. Alright, looks like Hank is home from work, and the uncomfortable moodlet has now switched over to a gender euphoria moodlet, which is nice, even if the surgery didn't really do what it was supposed to in terms of changing the settings for the sim. The flea market is on, which would have been the perfect opportunity to refurnish our apartment, but instead Cordelia is being tasked to look for snow globes to sell. And let's have Hank pick up an odd job. Alright, selling the snow globes and posters got us $275, still a long ways off. Alright, after many odd jobs, it looks like we're going to have enough for Cordelia to go get bottom surgery. Perfect, so we're at 11,000. We'll send her off and then we'll save up for Hank's bottom surgery. Cordelia is back. She's stressed out a little bit and she has a very uncomfortable moodlet, which is the same one as when she went for the top surgery and last 2 days. Everything else here is just from her having a rough life otherwise. In terms of changes in Cass, it looks like she can now become pregnant and she cannot use the toilet standing up. So those were the main changes. It leaves her having male as her sex option up here, which also means that it does not register her as needing a bra or anything like that. But according to the mod description, it actually should have changed her to female when we did the top surgery. So I'm going to try one more time. All right, not taking any chances this time. I'm not clicking off of Cordelia or doing anything in the time that she's gone. And she's back. All right, Cordelia, what's up with you? Her chest looks the same, but let's take a look in Cass. And it did work this time. She has female here. So perhaps when she went the first time, I must have clicked off of her. And now it registers that she needs a bra when she doesn't have a shirt on. And that means she can no longer have a beard. So in terms of gender settings, all of her settings have been changed using only this mod, including her voice stuff, which now I'm wondering maybe the voice stuff changed for Cordelia instead of Hank because I was on her while he was going to the voice lessons. But that doesn't explain why Hank's voice didn't go down from testosterone since his frame did change. Alright, Hank is home and time for him to go and get his revision of top surgery. And again, I'm not clicking off of him for anything, so I hope Cordelia is going to be fine during this time. Alright, Hank is back, and let's get him into Cass. Alright, it worked that time. So he's switched over to male. The only thing that hasn't changed is his toilet use and the pregnancy stuff because he hasn't gotten bottom surgery yet. I'm so glad that this was fixed. That's why we haven't paid bills, because we've been trying to just get the surgery money. And they've come to repossess some of our valuables, which I guess is just the shower? Yeah, I didn't realize there was a repo person in this one. For some reason I thought they just turned off the power in the water. Well, that's not good. I was gonna sell that for some money. Oh man, in the bed too? Come on. What? And the toilet? Well, I guess the bills are paid now because the lights are back on. And of course Hank comes home looking like this after they just took the shower away from us. Time to go to the gym. Going through some rough times here. It's looking a lot like the Rags to Riches challenge ever since the repo man took our bed. Alright, we officially have enough money for Hank's bottom surgery. So it's time. Again, not gonna click away from him this entire time. Can't risk it again. Alright, Hank is back from surgery, thank goodness, because while I wasn't able to click on Cordelia, she started freezing to death outside. I'm just gonna teleport her in because I don't want to deal with this right now. And I'll just check Hank's settings in Cass. And perfect. Now we can get others pregnant and he can use the toilet standing up. His clothing preference was always feminine, but everything else here changed. He used male, physical frame is masculine. His voice didn't change from testosterone. We do have $834 left, so I'm gonna use it for him to go do the voice training. And I'll stay on him this whole time. Cordelia, please stay indoors where you won't freeze. And I'll see if we can get his voice changed. And he's back. And at the same time, there seems to be a party next door, so let's try and talk to our neighbors. Or they're listening to heavy metal? I'm not sure. Let's find out if that's Guido or Raj. And Raj seems to be the one listening to the heavy metal. Ooh, and moment of truth. Yeah, we can tell. Hank's voice is deeper. Nice.
Whoa, what happened?
Nice, listen to that. So his voice is deeper now. And everything has changed except for his clothing preference. It's kind of funny that it gave Cordelia a new hairstyle at that one point, but then it just left Hank's hair. Not sure what that was all about. And now that their physical transitions are done, I'm going to upload Cordelia and Hank to the gallery if anybody's interested in having them in their games. So that's it for the overview of this mod. As per usual, I ultimately think this mod is awesome. It's really fun to add these new elements into the game. And while all these changes to The Sims gender settings are available at any point by just using the mirror and going into create a sim, it's nice to add like an element of them actually going to the surgeries, going to get the hormones and having to spend the money. If you watch my transgender challenge, you know that I usually manually deduct money and I have my own system for how much I think things should cost in terms of surgeries and hormones. But ultimately, I think this is fun to use. You have to be careful to make sure that you're clicked onto the sim that's going to do the different interactions. which is kind of annoying, but I assume there's a reason for that the modder couldn't work around, along with some of the other things I'd love to see different about this mod. I know that it's a lot of work and clearly a lot of care went into making this in the first place, so no real complaints. And I think it would be interesting to pair this mod up with the other mods that I've reviewed in terms of the gender dysphoria mod, as well as the one that has your sim taking regular hormones opposed to this mod, which only does it a one-time thing. I hope everyone liked seeing Hank and Cordelia, because you will be seeing them a lot more on my channel, as I'm going to be starting a Let's Play with these two sims that's going to dive into the occult world of The Sims 4. That's it for today, and if you're subscribed, I'll see you soon with another video.
Lampima ukinik.